Couldn't get this
Well,
one to
hello.
see.
It's great for us all to be together today. Really appreciate so many of you making the trip to join us in the Capitol Day for what I think is a really, really important recognition. So today, for the first time in our state's history, we are recognizing Lineman Appreciation Day as a statutory day of recognition, meaning it is the law of the state of Tennessee that the second Monday of every April from now on, we will recognize our brothers and sisters in the trade of line work. And I think that's a really, really important, wonderful thing that our General Assembly has done this year to recognize the hard work that all of you do on a daily basis. It's my pleasure as we begin today to introduce you to Senator Paul Bailey. Senator Bailey is one of the sponsors of the legislation. In order to pass a law in this state, a senator and a representative have to sponsor a piece of legislation, and they're the ones who put their names on paper to say, this is my idea. And Senator Bailey's been a great friend of our industry. He's been a great friend of all of ours, a great friend of mine. And I'd like to invite Paul Bailey to come forward and give us a few comments. Senator?
Thank you. Thank you guys for being here today. Appreciate y'all very much. I always have a special place in my heart relative to our electric co-ops. And I told the story back earlier this year in talking to some folks about when I wrote my paper as a junior in high school to try to get to go on a trip to Washington, D.C., that I learned a lot about our electric co-ops at that point in time, and it's actually carried over and later in life as far as my appreciation for our co-ops and what they do. So I'd just like to say that every time there's a thunderstorm, every time it begins to snow outside, and especially if they're calling for ice, I start thinking about you guys. I think about our TDOT workers, and I think about our electrical workers, and know that somebody's going to be calling on you. Somebody's going to be calling you to come out and make sure that they get their electric restored. You have the storms come through just like we've seen in the last couple of weeks, and I know you guys are out there working and trying to get people's electric restored and get them back up and operating in a normal capacity. So when Mike and Ryan came to me earlier this year and asked if I would be willing to sponsor the legislation to create a Lineman's Day, I absolutely was a yes on that, because I wanted to make sure that we were able to show appreciation to you. I know many times when you're out working on the job, back in 2020 when the tornado came through Putnam County, I represent the 15th Senate District, which is Smith, Putnam, Jackson, Cumberland, White, Van Buren counties. And when that tornado came through, I see a lot of my BEC guys sitting out here. And is there any Caney Fork, Upper Cumberland folks here today? Okay. Well, one thing that Representative Ryan Williams and I did, especially in Putnam County, we stopped every time we saw the linemen working and just got out and said thank you for hanging in there and trying to get our power back going, especially whenever the devastation that we had seen take place due to that tornado back in March of 2020. So some of you have probably experienced it in the last few weeks in your areas, just with the tornadoes that have come through recently. So but thank you guys, and we're here for you. I think Mike and Ryan will say that we've always tried to be a friend to our electric co-ops and so forth and so on. So does anybody have any questions? Have you enjoyed your day down here?
Absolutely.
Okay, I don't know if you're going to hang around for probably the exciting part later on tonight, but if you've not heard, there's a planned protest, so it's been a little bit interesting over the last few days relative to the protests that are taking place. But that shouldn't take away from this being your day, and you guys should be honored and thankful for what you do on a daily basis. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Association. We just wanted to present this to you,
okay.
that you can take to your office,
all
hopefully
right.
display it for all your guests to see. We hope that everybody that crosses the path of your office will know that you played a part in recognizing this incredibly fine group of people.
Hey, that's got your picture. That's not my
Well,
picture.
you can X that out.
Yeah. Put one over.
I knew he'd be in there somewhere.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Is this your group? Do they own you? You say they do. They didn't say they do. They're not agreeing.
So as we get ready to meet Representative Clark Boyd here in just a few moments, I've spent some time this weekend thinking about what I wanted to say to all of you and to our friends from the General Assembly to mark this occasion. And earlier this morning, I scrapped everything that I wanted to say. I took that piece of paper and I tore it up because I did something we all do every day. I opened the mail. And so this morning, I opened the mail at the office, and this letter came in the mail today from a fine woman named Lola Breeding from Crossville, Tennessee. And so Lola sent me a letter because she read the article that was in this month's edition of the Tennessee Magazine talking about this day. And so I'm going to read you what she wrote because I thought it was really, really neat. Now, if you told me this morning when I woke up that I was going to be reading poetry to a group of linemen in the state capitol, I think most people would think I'm pretty crazy. But here we are. I'm going to read you a poem that our friend Lola wrote to you. And she wrote and told me that she actually wrote this poem in May of 2002. And she transposed it and wanted, I believe she said it, I'll say it the way she said, could not agree with you more that our linemen are not given the credit they deserve for their part in making our everyday life a lot more livable. I hope you enjoy this poem as it comes from the bottom of my heart. As I have no way of sharing this poem with the men who work so hard, I ask that you would find some way to share it with them. So, along with some other comments she made. So I'm going to share her poem with you today. It's called Our Other Heroes. We hear a lot about our firemen and our policemen on patrol, but it seems not much is said about our men out on the pole. While our policemen try to keep the peace and our firemen put out those fires, there's another man who risks his life maintaining the electrical wires. I guess we can all take them for granted. We sure do harp and moan when we go to flip that little switch and the light won't come on. I've seen these men out working where the snow was really deep to repair a downed line while most of us were fast asleep. To never say thank you to these men would be a disgrace, especially when I consider the weather conditions they must face. They are on the job around the clock, so we may stay safe in our house. They work without sleeping, and the list goes on and on. So today, while storms are raging, I would love to ask the Lord to watch over and keep safe the men on our power board. Thank you. I thought that was really special, and that was written for you guys. We're going to take a pause just a moment as we await Representative Boyd, who's going to join us in just a minute. We'll have some other comments for you, and in the meantime, just enjoy some fellowship with one another. Thanks, guys. Come on, good.
There you go.
Well, I'd love to introduce all of you now to Representative Clark Boyd. Clark will introduce himself in just a moment. As chairman of the Business and Utilities Committee that hears all the legislation that's really important to the Utility Committee, but more importantly, he's the sponsor of the Lineworker Appreciation Day legislation. We're so incredibly grateful to you, Representative Boyd, for doing this, but not for doing it for us or any of us in the back of the room. It's for these guys right here in front of you that spend so much time risking their safety, risking their time away from their families to keep us all safe and to keep our lives comfortable and to keep the economy powering forward. We really owe a debt of gratitude to these guys, but I don't have to tell you that because this was your plan. So I'd love to have you make a few comments.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Guys, thank you so much for coming out here today, and it really was an honor to run that piece of legislation to recognize you guys. And I'll tell you that when I ran it through the committee, almost every time I presented it, I started it off and I said, if you've ever lived through a natural disaster, if you've ever lived through an ice storm, a tornado, anything like that, you understand the significance, the importance, and just how paramount the job that you guys do as linemen is. And I can remember when the tornado came through. I live in Wilson County. I'm in Lebanon, and I can remember in 2020, it was right before COVID-19, when the tornado came through. And as we were out over the weekend helping people, cutting up limbs and everything, there were trucks everywhere, line trucks, and I'm sure some of them were from out of town, but it was just a reminder to me to how important electricity is, good, reliable electricity, but how that is achieved through the hard work that you guys do out there, and I'm so appreciative of that. And so, and you know, working with TECA to make sure that we get this drafted up properly, and I'm so proud to be a part of it, and just appreciate everything that you do. And for those of you that are part of Middle Tennessee Electric, a little shout out there. That's my, I think, oh, they're in the back there. Okay, guys, that's my co-op, and I'm proud of them, and always tell people how good of a co-op they are. But I know y'all are from all around the state. It's great to have you tonight. Y'all are here at a unique time. When I heard y'all were coming, I was wanting to make sure. I said, well, apparently there's not going to be any riots tonight, or y'all probably wouldn't be here. But hopefully not. Hopefully things will go smoothly. And I hope that y'all can come tonight and visit us up in the House of Representatives. I would love to recognize y'all while I'm on the floor tonight. And so, once again, thank you for everything that you do, and looking forward to putting this. Has the governor signed this yet, Ryan, or is this? He has signed it. Okay, yeah.
We've got a copy for you to present here, Michael.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Up here by the flags, let's do that.
A round of applause. And we also have another copy of the law that we framed for you, Mark.
Oh, thank you. I
We'd love it if you
appreciate
could
that.
find a place of honor for that. We hope that you're
Yeah.
as proud of the accomplishment as we are of you for doing it.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Y'all have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ryan, you want to share?
So guys, the Secretary of State's floating around here somewhere. He's gonna stop by. We've got, as y'all can tell, there's a lot going on around the Capitol building today with our,
I just kind of blended to the wallpaper.
that's our order of the day is taking a short recess and then coming right back in. So, guys, I don't need to say too much about the next person who's here to greet us.
Oh, but go on.
Go.
I knew he would say that. Secretary of State Trey Hargett has served a number of terms. First served here in the General Assembly, in the House. We just heard Clark Boyd is a House member. His reputation goes in front of him.
Well, be careful.
So
Be careful.
I'll turn it over to him, one of
Thank
the
you
greatest
very
people in
much,
state
Mike.
government you'll ever meet. Secretary of State
Thanks,
Trey
Ryan. I
Hargett.
appreciate you very much. Y'all are so well represented here that I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to come spend some time with you today. I was delighted to read the resolution that Senator Bailey and Representative Boyd passed to recognize your hard work and what you mean, the very fabric of our community. How, you know, honestly, when I look around the room, I know that you represent thousands of other Tennesseans who step up and do a lot of the hard work that most of us, if somebody told us we had to do, we would be sitting here like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea how to do any of that. And you're there when we really need you in our most critical times. And you are unsung heroes in our community. So I'm glad to see you recognized in such a way. I promise I'm not getting choked up, okay? But to see you recognized, I don't know what happened to me here. To see you recognized in such a way that is just a small token to represent the hard work that you do day in and day out to serve all of our families and make Tennessee what it is. How many of you ever worked a holiday?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. How many of you have missed a hot meal on the holiday because of you were out there serving communities to make sure that they were able to enjoy their holidays, to get their power back on? You know, I've told my kids, you know, as we pass different trucks, especially during times of need, you know, son, I said, they're serving our communities in ways that, you know, don't get recognized. When, you know, they're missing their holidays with families. They're missing baseball games. They're missing school plays. They're missing critical moments in their families' lives on many occasions just to make sure we can enjoy ours. And a lot of times we pay attention to a lot of other heroes in our community, but you're among them. And I just want to thank you for everything you do, for the times we haven't recognized you, and grateful we can just take a few moments today to be able to recognize your tremendous service to our communities. I'm really relieved to see you, because when I put it down on my calendar, I thought it was line dancing day. And I was like, I know nothing about line dancing. So I was delighted to see you when I walked in the room. So once again, on behalf of all of our state, thank you for your tremendous work. I hope that we will continue to show honor and praise to you for the things you do, big and small. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Secretary Hargan. So one thing he didn't mention is he and his office administer most business registration functions in the state, but probably most importantly, they administer all of our elections in the state. We're frequently held up as the most secure state for elections in the country. So, Secretary, thank you most of all for keeping us out of the news on that front. But tremendous work. Tremendous work on that front. Guys, that concludes what we're doing in here. We're going to do a group photo, and I'm going to turn it over to the comms folks for this. But we want to do that up front, right, Trent, on the stage here. And for those of you, hopefully you can stay another hour or so. We'll be recognized on the House floor tonight, from the House floor tonight, by Chairman Boyd. It's probably a good idea for us to start going over and saving our seats up there, because we don't know how many or who will start to show up to observe session tonight. So you can follow me after we get done with photos, and we can get you to the right spot. Hopefully you'll be able to stay, and if it helps, we'll be one of the very first things during session tonight. That was our only request, is that they try to get us on the very front end, so don't worry about staying until 10 o'clock or anything like that. Hopefully it's one of the very first things. So again, thank you, Trent, on stage.
Yeah, let's get one line up on the stage and one line on the floor.
Representative Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, earlier this year, this body unanimously passed a resolution designating today as Electrical Line Worker Appreciation Day. And we actually have some of those fine gentlemen up here to my right. If you'll stand up, guys, and the members, if you'll make them feel welcome.
At Sapicki's desk.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to catch those linemen before they leave. My father-in-law was a lineman, Gary Smith, for NES for many years. I think sometimes we take electricity for granted, especially in the cold days that we have and the freezing temperatures. These guys are unsung heroes. My father-in-law, I'd see him get up at 3 a.m, show up for work. I heard him tell a story about a guy that got electrocuted and killed in front of him. He once fell off a pole, was injured really bad, but we take electricity, we take these guys for granted. So y'all give it up for our linemen that I think just left here. Y'all give them another big round of applause. Thank you.